Happy Easter from the Rajani / Scarl household. It's time for Rupal's Chatty Women. I know you're probably doing lots of things with the family this weekend, but if you could spare us about 15 minutes, because we've got a number of topics that we're going to be talking about with my guests. I'll introduce you to them in just a few moments' time. In fact, I'll get them to do the dirty work. But I really do hope you're having a great Easter and watching. Let us know if you are watching. Tick the like buttons. There's lots of love hearts and all sorts of other things. Maybe you'd like to tell me a little bit about Easter. Don't forget as well, you can share this and watch it later, so feel free to do that. 3 topics up for discussion today. The first one is your name and how it affects your personality. Does it affect your personality? That's one of the things we're going to be talking about. How do you feel about your name? Comment, please, on the thing below. You know where to do it, on the boxes below. Women, does what you wear affect your ability to do your job? Men included, but we'll explain that in a bit more detail between now and the next 15 or 20 minutes. And are women women's worst enemy? All right, that's going to be a controversial one, I reckon. So who's going to be talking about it today? They are indeed sisters, as you can probably tell. This one is Nidhi. No, Rupal.
No. Nidhi. No. Rupal.
You introduce yourself.
Nidhi, Rupal, Joshi.
What do you do?
I do a number of things. I work as a medical rep during the day, but I also work as a NLP coach and hypnotherapist, and I write poetry.
Excellent. And this is your sister, younger, older?
Older.
Older. Introduce yourself.
It's Priti. I'm basically, yes, the older sister of 3 siblings. I work as a business consultant, actually. I'm self-employed, so for the last 28 odd years I've also been in the pharmaceutical industry, repping on the road, and got fed up with it and decided to set up my own shop, really. So I'm really pleased to be here. Yes, I work from home, and I wouldn't change that.
Look, very quickly, Easter, of course, it's Easter Sunday today.
Yes.
Do you normally have plans for Easter?
Just the usual: eat
and enjoy
and
a good
eat.
lie-in, really.
Eat, enjoy with your family. We are live, and if you are watching, thank you for doing so. I suppose I should introduce the mystery voice, if I can stop from actually saying the person's name. Hello, mystery voice.
Hello.
There she is. We'd love to say hello to you as well. So keep watching, keep liking, keep commenting on anything we're talking about. Now, the reason there's a bit of confusion, Rupa, about you know what? You explain why I call you Rupa, but you're actually Nidhi Rupa, Joshi.
Yeah.
Okay. Long story short, I've grown up being called Rupa, and a few years ago, being Indian in the Asian community, if you're not married by a certain age, parents worry. So my parents went to a priest, and the priest told them that I'd actually been named on the wrong letter because I hadn't been named with my Rasi, which was an auspicious letter that you're named on. It's based around the astrology
and the lunar calendar,
yeah. etc. And so the priest said to them that you've called her Rupa. She shouldn't be Rupa. Her name needs to begin with N or Y. And after much discussion and deliberation, parents were like, no, you must change your name. You must do it. And so I became Nidhi. Yet the funny thing is, my parents still call me Rupa.
Wow. Okay. And
I'm not married.
and I know you by Rupa.
You do.
So do I.
I'm going to call you Rupa if that's all right with
course.
you. But
yeah.
How much do you think your name actually affects your personality? Do you think that being called Rupa and now being called Nidhi, that's actually changed your personality in any shape or form?
I think there is an energy related to names, and I think certain names do bring out certain personalities. So in the corporate world, in my world of work, I am Nidhi, and I don't know, maybe it has made me a slightly different person, because Rupa was more soft, a little bit more malleable, and Nidhi may not be as malleable, so
bit more assertive, I think.
Yeah,
it's very true, actually. I'm a Rupal, and well, I've always been a Rupal. I wasn't named after my Rasi, as they call it, either. And I think that's probably affected my personality in some shape or form. I'm not quite sure how. My surname, certainly. I use my maiden name for work and for the outside world, and I use my married name for everything else. And I stick to it's weird, I stick to my maiden name, just not only because people know me by that, but it somehow makes me feel, and my husband's probably going to kill me for saying this, but it just makes me feel slightly more powerful in some shape or form. I'm not sure whether powerful could be the right word, but there's a different energy for me with my surname particularly. What about you, Priti?
Well, I think I've been named under the Rasi as I should have been, and I've been very much a Priti, I think, from day one. It hasn't changed me in any. Well, I am who I am. I'm quite easygoing, quite soft. I don't really have too many issues.
Do you think if you were called, I don't know, if you had a Seema, for instance, if you were called Seema, you would feel slightly differently or behave slightly differently?
I may behave differently. I don't know. I think it's being the eldest of the family as well. Probably that's kind of moulded the way I am. I've become more feisty now. I'm kind of more bold, and I think that's age-related rather than name.
No.
My influence.
No, I don't think so.
Do you know what? I mean, I know lots of Pritis, and every single person that I know that is a Priti is kind of very strong, very powerful in so many ways, and very, very. They know their mind. You know, they know their thoughts. We obviously can't name the mystery voice, which is slightly weird, but as mystery voice, do you behave differently from your real name? Mystery voice?
My name's shortened, so I don't use my full name, and I haven't done since I was about 10. But my mum used to shout it, and you knew you were in trouble. But I think I think Rasi does help. But then I was always bolshy, so I don't know if it's anything to do with Rasi or whether it's just personality.
She's always bolshy. She was always bolshy, and she still is. Can I just say, in the nicest possible way. Have we had any comments from people joining us
There have been lots
today?
Of people joining us,
lovely.
And unfortunately, I can't.
Okay, I can tell you. Gajal, thank you for joining us. Jessica, Nancy, Sandra, hello to you. And she says hello to the guests as well. Mike,
hello.
thank you for tuning in. I'd be interested to hear from you what you think about your name and whether your name actually affects your personality. So you say it has changed it somehow?
I think there have been subtle changes. And there was an incident in my career a few years ago where, had I been Rupa, I probably, with what I'd gone through, and I won't go into it, I probably would have been in the corner crying. But as Nidhi, I fought my corner and I stood up for myself. So I think in that way, there has been a slight difference. But I think people's names do sometimes, I think that people's names do affect their personalities and who they are and how they portray themselves.
Would you change your name, Priti?
No, I wouldn't. I think I go back to what you said about Pritis that you've known. My name, again, is shortened as well. So it's Priti Bala, but I don't use Priti Bala. And there's probably only maybe 2 or 3 people who actually use my full name when they see me, and they're my school friends. So my name, I think I am very strong inside, I must say. I do know what I want, and a lot of times people don't understand what I'm saying because my mind's already working overtime. And it knows exactly what it's saying and what it's doing, but I can't seem to tell other people that's what they'll... So it does work a bit funny, and it is, I know exactly what I'm thinking, but I can't, I just say what I have to say.
Would I change my name? Probably not.
No.
Right, so your thoughts, okay? Share your comments, please, on the comments below. Tell us if you're watching. Tell us where you're watching from today as well. Don't forget to tick the like buttons, the love hearts, and there's all sorts of other things and bits and bobs as well. Anything that you hear on the show. So let's move on. Does what you wear affect your ability to do your job? Now, whose idea was this? Whose sort of topic between us was it, really?
I think it was a general
consensus,
general
wasn't it?
It was all,
I think we
all
were
three
kind
of us, because I think the 3 of us are very much dress for comfort and dress for what makes us feel happy in what we're wearing, and we tend not to follow trends and fashions. And I think we were talking about the incidents, weren't we?
Yeah, tell us about one of the incidents, because this is obviously stories that have been in the news. I sort of vaguely remember one of them, Rupal.
Yeah, well, there was a couple of incidences. One was a receptionist in a London company. I can't remember if they were lawyers or a financial house. So if you can remember the story, please share it with us. But it was a receptionist that had to show clients to and from different rooms, etc. And she was wearing flat shoes because her feet were hurting in her heels, and she was actually asked to go home because she wasn't wearing stilettos. And the other incident was a waitress who was told she had to wear high heels doing her job, which, come on, you're a waitress, you're walking back and forth, it's impractical, it's dangerous. And she was basically told she had to go home and change her shoes. And even though she had blisters on her feet and it was really painful, her employers didn't care. They were like, you have to wear your high heels. And that's where that whole topic came from. So why should what a woman wears, or a man for that matter, why should what we wear affect our ability to do our job?
But surely if you're, say, for instance, in a corporate environment, you need to look a certain way. I couldn't perhaps go dressed as I am, and this is the kind of thing that I would normally wear, jeans and a casual top. I don't think I would feel comfortable in that sort of situation. It's not the accepted thing, is it, Priti?
It's not in the corporate environment. I mean, I've been in corporate many years, and I've had to dress, the part and all the rest of it. But I kind of broke away from the norm. Everybody was wearing greys and blues, etc. But I like to wear colourful clothes, so I used to do that, and that may have been detrimental to my career progression. Maybe it wasn't as quick as I could have made it. But I think it depends on who you are. If you're a big CEO of a company, then it depends on what whether you want to go the kind of the conservative route and have to wear a suit and protect your suit image, or if you're like, I don't know, Richard Branson, some of the Netflix stuff we've been watching, where they're big CEOs of big investment firms, they just go in jeans and t-shirts and nobody seems to give a hoot.
But do you think people judge them differently?
I think they generally would on first appearance, but it doesn't stop them from doing what they're doing well.
Mystery voice?
I've actually been to work, so I wouldn't normally wear a waistcoat. Yeah. So I've actually chosen something that I was wearing when I was at school in sixth form. I wore a waistcoat and a shirt and stuff, and I've reclaimed that as my workwear for corporate. And I think it's because I'm old, I can get away with it. I don't think a young person would get away with it. A younger woman would probably have to wear a skirt. Because as you can see, I've got jeans on today. But I think as an older woman, it's possible to do things differently, whereas younger people would get they'd get told.
Wouldn't they?
But do you think it's that they would get told, or do you think it's that they are so indoctrinated into this whole media aspect of how a woman should look and how a man should look, and that's more what it is about rather than that they'd be told?
I think so. I think it's also to do with the way that we're, like there's an expectation. We were talking earlier about Theresa May and the other
Nicola
woman.
Sturgeon.
Nicola Sturgeon and their legs. The comments about their legs, and it's like, hang on, surely, with women's lib, with the laws that say that women shouldn't be discriminated against, are they giving the blokes the high heels as well? That's my question.
So Sandra says, I think what you wear does impact on how you feel within yourself and how people see you and feel about your competence and ability to do the job. We are human beings, and we do, unfortunately, make a judgment based on what we see.
And that's actually a really valid point, because I think we are so used to being told what is the norm and what isn't, and so we do that. Whereas if we were, say, not shown what the norm, and I'll say that, use that term loosely, was, then we wouldn't actually be making those judgments. So that is a valid point, because, for example, in the corporate world, if a woman is tattooed and has got piercings, she may be seen as less competent as a woman who's wearing a pencil skirt and doesn't have any tattoos and has, different colour hair and different colour eyes. And, that this is the discrimination that I think everybody, not just women, all people face. You know, it's like they've had articles on it recently where they've actually said, well, if a candidate turns up to an interview and has got tattoos, and one turns up that doesn't have tattoos, but the tattooed one is more competent for the job, who would you give the job to? And I think it was about 70% or 80% of them said they'd give it to the guy, you know, to the candidate that didn't have tattoos. So we are judging.
We are judged.
We're judging and
Yeah.
we're judged. And I think, you know, it's a slow process, and I think that process has to begin with ourselves.
Pravina, thank you for joining. Maz, thank you also for joining. If you've got any comments on any of these topics, we'll try and get your comments in as well. So make sure you write them on the comments list. If you like what you hear, tick, love hearts, all the rest of it. Tell us where you're watching from on this Easter Sunday. I hope you're having a good one, by the way. Our final topic then for today. And Priti, I think, well, between the two of you, you can explain this in a bit more detail.
Yeah.
Are women women's worst enemy? Priti.
Good point. I think we came about on that topic because over the course of however many years we've been around in work, etc., we've done well. You know, we're all successful women in our own ways, and there are a lot of people around who we've spoken with, women in mainly, I think, who come across to say, oh, okay, you know, they feel intimidated by us, I think, and it manifests in, say we're at a party and we've been invited to this party, and both of us usually go together, and we do talk a lot about the world. We know a lot of topics. We're not thick, you know, we're quite intelligent women, and we're having conversations with people in the room. And certain women, and this has happened to us once before, one of the girls, we won't name her, but she came across to us and says, they thought we were of a certain profession, and she said, she came across to talk to us because, you know, she thought we were the same profession as everybody else in the room, and then she said, oh, what do you lot do then? And she said, we are medical representatives and we work as business managers. And she kind of turned her nose down to that completely, and I'm thinking, hang on a minute, what do you do then? And I didn't say that because we're not, you know, we're not there to have a fist fight.
What is it, Mystery Voice? What is it? Do you
What
think
is
it's?
that?
Do you think it's sort of insecurity as far as other women are concerned? Do you?
It could be. I think it's also kind of feeling intimidated. You know, you think about it. If they've not chosen a path, then maybe they've thought about it, but they've chosen a more traditional route. Then, of course, the women who have done it, there's going to be a kind of, you know, I want to be like them, but I'm not like them because they chose and they got what they wanted and I didn't.
Still.
But then there are other women who'll just go, no, you're breaking all the rules. And it's like, well, shouldn't we? Shouldn't we be?
Well, that
Hit the nail on the head, I think.
that's the thing. Because one of my favourite quotes, and I love this quote, is "Teach your daughters more about shattering glass ceilings than glass slippers." And I think that's the difference. Because I mean, I think, you know, cause Rupal and I go back many years, but we've both, you know, we've all been raised by very strong mothers, and our mothers have taught us to be strong and.
Yeah.
You know, okay, our father's still with us, and our father very much was, you stand on your own 2 feet, you don't put your hand out to anybody to help you, you help yourself, and that's been instilled. But I think, you know, the point, I suppose, that we were making about are women's worst enemies, why is it that some women, not all women, because I think, you know, there are a lot of women that are so empowered that they empower other women.
Yeah, and that's important.
Those women are my kind of women. But there are those who are so disempowered by the choices that they've made that they find it very difficult to see another woman being successful in what she does. And whether that's in a corporate job, whether that's in motherhood, whether that's in a relationship, because success isn't just about how much money you've got in the bank.
Yep.
It's about your inner happiness.
We get lots of likes and thumbs
good.
up for as far as that is concerned. Ash has joined us, Bijal has joined us, Sonal has joined us, and John, hello to you. Good to have you all. So what's the answer? How do women help each other rather than be their own worst enemy?
I think at the end of the day, it's if you are a strong, empowered woman, then don't see other women as a threat. actually help them. If you see a woman who wants to be empowered, who wants to be stronger, then help them, support them. Because if we don't help each other, we're living in a patriarchal society as it is. And I think with Asian women more than other cultures, Western cultures, we are very much a patriarchal community. And if we actually see, you know, we've got a strong woman, like for example, you know, we've got a strong woman in you, a strong empowered woman in you, and you help others, well, that for me is, hopefully that will cause a ripple effect. So if you are a strong empowered woman, then help other women become strong and become empowered, and let them see how brilliant they are themselves. And it doesn't matter what job you do, it's about being a good person and actually helping other people see the brilliance in themselves. So
we're going to have to leave it.
Yeah,
we're going to have to leave it there. I think that kind of like a big round of applause.
Thank you.
And in fact,
you.
lots of love hearts. Jamie is love hearting away there, loving what we're all saying. So thank you. Yeah, what's
Cool,
that?
yeah.
What's that? Okay, let's do that.
yes,
So,
that's love heart. Thank you.
I thank you for my Easter egg, by the way.
Oh,
and
you're
and
welcome.
I thought, well, we had an Easter egg. I've taken it out of the package, and hopefully you can't see the labelling or anything like that. But what's the best way to? Should we just crack this open?
Yeah, I think so. Let's just go for it.
Whilst you crack that open, perhaps not on the table. Let's see if you can crush
see if
it.
you can just
Let
crush
me.
it, shall we?
Let's crush it. Have a bit of chocolate
Crush
on
a grit.
Easter.
There
Have
we
a
go,
wonderful
it's done.
time. Don't forget to keep commenting. You can do it after the programme is over as well. Make sure you share. And hopefully I'll see you in a couple of weeks' time. Ladies, thank you. Hang on. Bit of chocolate before we go. Enjoy the rest of your Easter break. And thank you very much indeed for watching.
Thank
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.